you don't have that gratification of some big resolve. It's just kind of like we're back where we started. This is such a vibe they're setting up. A lot of subtleties already. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Low End University. A Forest is from The Cure's second studio album, 17 Seconds, released in 1980. Now, The Cure are a band I am aware of. I remember hearing several of their songs many years ago on a playlist or something. Maybe Boys Don't Cry, probably Love Song, and maybe another, but they were a band I never really got. I never deliberately sought them out and checked them out further. But many of you have requested their track, A Forest. In fact, this has been on my list for probably over a year now, so I'm going to go back and check them out today. And I'm reading that this is actually one of their most performed songs, with over 1,000 live appearances in their set list. So let's get straight to it. A Forest from The Cure. So gloomy. Interesting where this goes. Okay, real quick, I wanted to mention this a second ago, but I didn't want to pause right off the bat. But it's interesting the way he's holding his hand in terms of bass technique. And, myself and many other players, they tend to kind of lean their plucking hand on the body of the bass and have this kind of fulcrum point to reach all the strings. So, and use the floating thumb technique, which is kind of mounting a thumb, but he's kind of plucking more parallel to the bass body in terms of wrist angle. And all that really does is sort of change the attack angle on the strings. And you kind of get more of this sound. Whereas if you kind of change the angle of attack, you get more of a... So it doesn't change anything other than that. And he just is kind of floating his thumb in midair there and kind of resting the arm. We're here in kind of C minor, but it's of course in the relative, or C major, we're in the relative minor, which would be A minor. So just wanted to point that out real quick. It's good to have a performance video sometimes just to kind of get my head around how the bassist, who is Simon Gallup here, is kind of playing. But keep it going. This is quite a vibe already. I remember some of the songs I've heard being a little more, I guess, radio friendly. So this has kind of a deep cut vibe. He's just like staring through me. It's kind of intimidating in a way. Wow. That was a really unexpected chord progression to go to. B major? Yeah, so this is kind of like the B section. I don't know if this is even the chorus. It doesn't really have that typical song structure. It's kind of laying out this repetitive thing that kind of keeps you uncomfortable. And then they go to this progression that I think is going to kind of take the progression in general somewhere with this big resolve that kind of hits, but it doesn't. And we're here in A. Those four chords are just A minor, C, F, D minor. Then it goes to a B major, which kind of brightens it up for a second. And then it does a tritone movement down to F sharp. And tritones typically have kind of a dissonant sound when played together, but when you put them in a chord progression like that, instead of adding tension, it kind of adds just this feeling of irresolution, I guess. And it almost kind of sounds kind of sinister, because they're kind of going between these three chords. And then he does like a little chromatic turnaround there to get back to the original. I wouldn't say that was a key change necessarily, but just back to where they were. Yeah, right there. Yeah. Back to the F, which is part of the original progression. And you don't have that gratification of some big resolve. It's just kind of like we're back where we started. This is such a vibe they're setting up. A lot of subtleties already. I'm going to keep it going. Despair in the vocal demeanor, vocalist. Okay, here's that part again. Okay, I missed this the first couple of repeats. It's a really gentle production. Some of those nuances in the bass I'm just now hearing. But he's not just writing the chords like... which would give it just a bit... it would be a bit more boring. And what he's adding here is such a subtle thing that can make this whole resolvedness argument I'm talking about just much more exciting under the layers. And what I mean by that is he's adding these kind of notes. And I talk about this concept in a lot of videos for bass players where you drive the root note you're on from a note below it. And it gives this kind of pushing motion throughout the bass line. So instead of outlining it like this, there's not a ton of direction in that, but he's doing this. I think something like that, using a lot of that open A. So and it gives you this sense of like it's wanting to go somewhere more than it is, but it keeps you in this holding pattern. And it's like, it almost makes you more uncomfortable the longer it repeats. And I'm just kind of figuring out how that ties into the lyrics. You know, I'm hearing lyrics such as, see her through the trees, see into the dark, the girl. You know, I don't normally focus on lyrics and vocals much on this channel, but I'm hearing those. And it's almost like there's something in this hypothetical forest. It's probably an allegory of some sort, but there's something out there in the unknown. The music isn't resolving. And it's this just, the way they're coupled together has this very mysterious kind of haunting thing to it. I don't know, that's very, very interesting. Let me go back to about right here. Yeah, the rototom kind of setups, very 80s, but the tones are using some sampling here, so just an interesting percussion drum setup too. Everything is just floating way up here in the stratosphere on top of this concrete bass and drum groove. It's kind of binary in a way. I've seen pictures of the band, but they were not this young, that's for sure. The girl was never there, it's always the same. Running into nothing? So this chord progression is kind of like A, B here, back to the B major. Wow. This band are just like, they're kind of a feeling where you can't think too much about it, despite me doing this video, which is kind of the fun contrast here, but you just have to float along in their kind of world of discomfort. And I don't even know if discomfort's the right word. It's that there's no resolve. It just, the whole song paints this picture of depth. And I'm having more time to kind of soak in the vocal delivery because musically it's very kind of A, B, and repetitive. But it's like you're just driving down the road. This is a good driving song maybe. And It's just meandering in the way the subject matter is. Is there anything out there? Nothing's past the trees either. I don't know. And, it's going to be tough to kind of scratch the abstract surface of the song just on this kind of first listen. But the more I let it go, this band must be about a lot of deep subtleties. Even musically, I miss those kind of bass notes that kind of changes the way the groove hits me now. It's kind of pummeling and it's like it wants to go somewhere, but it just isn't. Just like the subject matter. Steer through the trees, the forest, what's that, it's mysterious. It's the unknown. That's what I'm getting so far. Yeah, those little movements in the bass notes are just hard if you're not even seeing it. It's very gentle. Oh, he's stoic. Yeah, there was a guitar thing about right here. Where was it? Right here. Okay, what's interesting about this is I kind of hear underneath that really wet sound, there's a lot of delay verb. It's very kind of covered up and buried in the ambience of the whole guitar approach. I hear this melody poking through that's kind of just alternating between 3 or 4 notes. It's as simplistic as the bass groove. It's as simplistic as the chord progression. So it's really on brand, but it's just kind of going between. Just kind of cycling through different iterations of that over everything else. Really interesting. But I'm watching him play. Oh, there's some chromaticism there. Yeah, if you watch right here the way he's playing it, he's kind of strumming it like a chord, like multiple notes. There must be some sort of pedal tone in there on some open strings. And it's almost as if he played that melody just kind of naked and standalone. Like if he just came out and went. It would almost be too abrasive. And it's like he masks this little melodic figure into the previous parts he was playing that was just more chordal, more ambient. So to add in a melody out of nowhere would be kind of abrasive. I think it would detract from the vocal melody that's been established and seems kind of long gone by now. The songwriting is so distinct and so unique. I feel like I get the band a bit more now, kind of hearing this side of them. Very interesting. And you only catch these subtleties if I'm having to rewind, and I might have to listen again. But it's like more than a song, it's just a feeling. The way he looks. Yeah, that little major chord thrown in there. I got weird dissonance happening. Almost like an afterthought. Could you imagine a band putting out a track like this today? Very something interesting. Whoa. I didn't expect that to end with just bass. This entire song has had that kind of sparse groove with some space in it. And we never heard him play just straight eighth notes like that. That's the last thing he played. What does that leave me on? Because it's almost like a continuation. Right as it starts to gain momentum, it ends. And maybe that adds to the kind of uncertainty, unsuredness kind of feel I get from the song. This is a feel. And it's almost like this really drawn out poetry put over this. And the message, if there really is something concrete message-wise in the lyrics, whatever that feeling is, it was perfectly paired with the music. it almost led you to believe it was going to go somewhere bigger or go somewhere with any kind of resolve, but it really never did. And I think that plays into, the trees, something's in there, I'm running, I'm toward it, I can't find it. There's nothing there either. There's no resolve either in the storyboarding of the lyrics. Yeah, interesting band, deep, a lot of subtleties. And it's a really sunny day outside here. I almost wish it was really overcast for this, but yeah, this is the most melancholy thing I've heard, once again, from the limited handful of songs I've heard. So thank you for requesting this. And I'm thinking back now, this has to be a really special moment live, being one of their most performed songs. And again, it has that deep cut kind of feel. But something I didn't include in the intro that was in my notes is that bassist Simon Gallup apparently really respects J.J. Burnell from the Stranglers and kind of apparently referenced his playing style for the bass line in this song. And I heard the Stranglers for the first time not too long ago. Their track Nice and Sleazy. So if you like them, go check that out. But that's it. The Cure, A Forest, maybe I understand them a bit better, but I don't think this is a band you can really wrap your head around with a few songs. So as I always say, it's an exploration I need to have at some point, but thank you guys for hanging out with me today. Come find us on Patreon if you'd like to support the channel further. I do full album reactions over there and get a little deeper into this kind of thing. Bass lessons, licks, tracks, all sorts of other resources over there. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. I love you all. Thanks for hanging. We'll see you next time.